Are you ready for our tutorial? Let's begin.
Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today's video is my entry for the NYX 2017 Face Awards. Really excited. In this video, I will be showing you how I created that robot that you saw in the beginning of the video. So let's go ahead and jump in. So as you can see here, I am sketching out where I want most of the robot pieces to be. This is just a rough sketch. I'm going to be painting over it anyways, but it gives you a really good idea of where you want your pieces. So the next step towards creating this robot look is to fill it in with silver body paint. I'm using a water activated paint with a foundation brush, and I'm just filling in the spots where the metal would be. I absolutely love these types of products because you basically just add water to them and they become this beautiful creamy consistency, really easy to use. So just fill in all the places where you want the robot metal to be. You can see I'm switching between larger brushes and smaller detailed brushes depending on what part of the robot that I'm filling in. I know you might be thinking, why did I use the eyeliner when I'm going over it in paint anyways, but it really does help to make sure that all the lines and squares and everything does match up nicely and that it's even on all sides. It really does help, and you do see a little bit of the eyeliner through the paint, and that really does help to guide you. I would also recommend that if you're doing a look like this, or this look itself, is that you sketch it out ahead of time and really decide where you want things to go. It is difficult to do a painting and just on a whim, just figure out where things go, especially when there's so many pieces like this robot. So definitely practice it ahead of time, sketch it out, do everything you can to really prepare for a look like this. So this next step is going to be important and really making that metal look realistic. This is taking a sponge, putting it in a little bit of black water activated paint, and just creating a rustic look so it doesn't look one-dimensional. So you're going to take the sponge, go up and down, left to right, really making it look very rustic and giving it more dimension. Do this as much as you need, as much as you feel is necessary, so it doesn't look flat. Now we're going to go in with black body paint and fill in all those areas that right now have flesh. We don't want to have really any flesh looking colors on this body paint. It's either going to be the robot or that negative space with the black. So I'm taking the water activated paint again, like I said, filling in all those spaces. You'll see I go from using a larger brush for the larger areas to a small detailed brush for those little tiny areas and really getting all those details done. To get this body paint more opaque, what you'll do is paint one layer, let it dry, go on to something else, come back to it, and just continue to add layers. The more layers that you add, the more opaque, more pigmented it'll look. It won't look super streaky. So I know there's a few pieces right now that might look streaky, but I come back to them later after they've dried. I know this sounds weird, but don't forget your ears. They are very important. You don't, again, want that flesh tone coming through in any parts of this body paint. I also start to jump around a little bit. I'm filling in the squares and all the open spaces, but I also am going in and adding some detail. So I'm taking a small eyeliner brush and just starting to create all the rivets and really, again, giving this robot some more dimension. I know what you're probably thinking, and you're probably thinking that this looks a little bit like the Tin Man, and I agree. At this point, it does. But once you start to add detail with all the highlighting, all the shading, it really does come together and starts to look more like a robot. I then decided to add some NYX flair because this is indeed my NYX Face Awards entry. But then I decided to move on to some detail. I will also say that this video is sped up, so when you're doing this, make sure you're doing it slow and really taking your time. It is not easy to draw lines like that, especially left to right, so definitely practice, take your time, and if you need to go over lines multiple times, that's okay too. There's really 4 primary colors used in this entire look: the red that you see here, the black, the silver, and then white for highlighting. So just go ahead and clean it up with the red, and then I'm going to go around the lines one more time, or probably like 10 more times, just to clean them up a little bit. You'll see as you're going through the whole body paint that the lines start to fade, and at times you'll have to go back and really sharpen them up, and that's fine to do. I'm also going in and adding some detail to the shoulders, and really just anytime I see that I want to clean things up like there, I will do so. Next, we're going to focus on some shading. So using any black eyeshadow that you have, take an eyeshadow blending brush and just start to shade the areas where there would be natural shadows. You can see the difference between this side that is shaded and this side that is not. It's a huge difference, and you'll really start to see this whole robot really transform with dimension. What we're really trying to do here is transform this really flat, silver-looking robot into a dimensional robot that has character, where there would naturally be shadows and highlights where the sun or the light is hitting it. So after we're shading, you can't just leave it like that. You also have to do the next step, which is highlighting. So for the rest of the video, you'll see me going back and forth between shading, highlighting, and here we are doing some highlighting. So I just take a white cream paint and I'm just using the opposite sides of where the shadows would be to really create that depth and show that brightness. Next, we're going to go in with some more black body paint and really just sharpen up some of those lines. Like I said earlier, when you start shading and adding other things on top of it, sometimes you'll lose that sharpness. So just anytime you feel you need to create more sharp and details, you do that. I'm now adding in some screw lines. This is just showing how, a robot is put together. But add whatever detail you feel looks best. I didn't do a lot of these screws, but you can add whatever you'd like. For the most part, the rest of the video is going to be just doing this. It's going to be shading and then going in and highlighting it and then going in and sharpening up those lines. So I'm going to let you just watch for a little bit and I'll be back. So the last large piece that I'll be working on is the eyes and the mask area. So I started to create this look, and I actually had already done silver paint there. If I had known I was going to add this part in, I would not have done any paint because as you can see, it's a little difficult to paint over that silver. So as you saw earlier with that tip that I gave, you're going to paint something, let it dry, come back and create more layers so it looks more pigmented and more opaque. So I'm going in and doing some highlighting on the face while I let that mask, the first layer, dry. So then I'm going to go back in and I'm going to add more layers of black until I find it to be as pigmented as I want it. I think it took me maybe 2 or 3 layers of the black to really get it to as dark as I wanted. Now I'm just going in with that red body paint, again the water activated paint, and creating this Terminator looking eye over here. I thought it'd be fun to do one side as a mask and one side as this crazy creepy eye. So I'm just covering it around the edges with a black body paint. And then I also actually went in and set it with a powder, meaning I went in and put that eyeshadow on top of it so it would last longer. I'm now doing some shading so that it looks as though the mask is really coming off of the skin and where you can see those highlights and those shades. And I absolutely love how this came out. So this is the final look, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and feel free to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Let's get some hair and background on that so you can see it a little better. Again, thank you so much, and feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I will put out more videos in the future, and wish me luck for the next Face Awards. Bye, guys.